I want to ask, just to follow up on the subsidy question, right? What is the subsidy about? Because on the campaign trail, you have had an Atiku say that it's going to remove subsidy. Tinubu said it's going to remove subsidy. And then even Peter Obi said it's going to remove subsidy. But the Labour Party has responded to say that, well, we don't know what you're talking about when you say you want to remove subsidy, but any subsidy removal that will mean that the price of fuel will go above what it is now. We will respect it. That's the position of Labour. And Peter Obi is saying that the subsidy is a scam, similar to what Buhari said before 2015, that subsidy is a scam. Is there really a subsidy? And if there is, where is the subsidy? And is it possible for us to have subsidy removal without increasing the price of petrol? Toyosi?
I think if I understand, my understanding about fuel subsidy removal, I think it has to do with removing the cost of production, exporting the fuel, that's the crude oil now, outside Nigeria for it to be refined. And then when it's being brought back or imported back to Nigeria, you pay for the cost of, I think, transportation and all, right? And then so the fuel subsidy removal has to do with the cost of exporting, the cost of importing, and then you will now minus it from the, I think, the fuel price, right? Before selling it out to the people.
Okay, so
am I correct?
Invariably, you as an average Nigerian do not have a thorough concept, a thorough understanding of what the subsidy is.
Honestly, that's it. Because I think I've asked so many persons and they don't even understand what this fuel subsidy means. But I think when I research it, it's about the, when you have your crude oil in Nigeria, you export it, the money you pay, you put it aside, and when they refine it, the cost of refining, you put it aside, and when you import it back to Nigeria, the cost of importation, you put it aside. And when you plus it, you add it to the fuel price, and then that's why you're now selling it at an increased price to Nigeria, right? I think that was what I understand from what I read that day.
Very interesting. Let me give you my own concept of this whole subsidy thing. In a nutshell, the subsidy thing is a scam. Subsidy is a lie. Your concept, by the way, the concept that you explained about subsidy, Ebere, you are 100% correct, right? Subsidy is money that government pays on certain goods and services so that the price can become lower for the citizenry.
Okay.
You understand? That's subsidy. But let's look at the petroleum industry. Nigeria has 4 refineries. 4 refineries that were working at 30% in 2015 when Goodluck Jonathan was president. 30%. And at that time, we were paying subsidy of about 200 billion. And Nigerians were screaming that the subsidy is too high. 200 billion. Now, Buhari took over, became president, and then 8 years down the line, our refineries have gone down from 30% refining capacity to 0% refining capacity. 0. Right? And these same refineries have staff that are being paid on a monthly basis. These same refineries, we have spent $4.5 billion for turnaround maintenance on these refineries in the past 3 to 4 years. $4.5 billion. Right? Now, we say that the refineries are not refining anything, which is a lie. But let's agree for the sake of argument that the refineries are not refining anything. So all the fuel that Nigeria consumes is coming from abroad, from countries like Belgium and the Netherlands. They are the ones refining our fuel. Now, we have an arrangement with these countries for what they call direct sales, direct purchase. Direct sales, direct purchase. Now, this direct sales, direct purchase simply means that we will sell you crude oil in the amount of fuel that we need. I don't know if you understand. We will sell you crude oil in the amount of refined petrol that we need. That is direct sales, direct purchase, meaning that if we sell you $1 billion worth of crude oil, you will give us $1 billion worth of refined petroleum. Now, this crude oil leaves Nigeria on the platform of Shell. Shell is the is the owner of the major distribution platform in Nigeria, Shell. Every crude oil that goes out must go through the Shell platform. So they have 100% control of how fuel leaves Nigeria, crude oil leaves Nigeria, and fuel comes back into Nigeria. Now, all we just need to do is tell Shell, we give you $1 billion worth of crude oil, give us $1 billion worth of refined petroleum. And whatever it will cost you to transport the oil, we will pay you, Shell, in crude oil. So that way, we don't need to pay a single dime for the fuel that comes into Nigeria. We don't. But now they say that they are paying fuel subsidy. The question is, who are they paying the fuel subsidy to? Are they paying the fuel subsidy to the transport companies that are bringing in the fuel? Or are they paying the fuel subsidies to the major oil marketers? Because don't forget that NNPC is solely in charge of importing. So this cost of transportation and landing costs that they're talking about is being borne by NNPC, which could have been paid for in crude oil in the direct sales, direct purchase deal, which in other words is called oil swap. So why pay major oil marketers, the likes of them, what's this man now? What's this man's name? This Dangote's friend.
Rano.
No, not Rano.
Rano.
No. This is Otedola's son. Otedola's son now. Otedola, Femi Otedola.
Yes.
The likes of Femi Otedola are the ones that were paying subsidy to. I hope you know. Otedola and the other major oil marketers are the ones that we are paying subsidy to. Now, when we say we are paying subsidy to them, what are we paying the subsidy for? Because we are doing direct sales, direct purchase. So are we paying Otedola for the cost of importing the fuel, which we could have also paid for in crude oil since Shell is in charge? What are we paying for exactly? That's why I'm telling you that the fuel subsidy itself is a scam. It's a regime that was put in place to benefit some people. The people, the likes of them, Femi Otedola and the likes of them, Dangote, who are the front runners. And these people are just money placeholders for people like the powerful politicians who own the money behind. So when you say subsidy,
that really explains why people don't know the meaning, because it's not transparent enough.
They make it look like it's one hidden thing. There's nothing hidden about it. There is no subsidy. And you know the problem with that? They now tell you that Nigeria is consuming 170 million liters of fuel per day.
Exactly. And it might not be up to that.
It is not, because Nigeria is the same population with Pakistan. This is what Peter Obi keeps saying. Pakistan has a population of 200.
This convention, oh yeah, peace. With these conventions and figures, how come nobody has taken it up? Because you seem to be so convinced that it doesn't exist. So why do we all believe it does?
Good.
That's because people don't know about it.
Exactly. People don't know about it. And I'm glad that we talked about it like this. This whole fuel subsidy thing, the reason why they are pushing for it now is two. One, to support Dangote refineries. That's why they are pushing it for it now. Because think about it. You are saying that we're paying subsidy because we're importing fuel. If Dangote was refining the fuel locally, would we still be importing fuel?
At all.
Would we need to pay subsidy? We
There's
won't.
no need.
But if they did that, Dangote Refinery would not be maximizing profits for its shareholders. Do you understand? And part of the shareholders are some of these powerful politicians and some foreign and international companies.
Yes.
So to maximize the profit, that's why they want to take off this fuel subsidy, quote and unquote, so they can increase the price of fuel so that the likes of Dangote refineries can maximize their profits. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. And then the second one is foreign companies can now come into Nigeria, spend their dollars to buy over the infrastructure of refining. They make it look like, oh, our refineries are not working. Oh, government cannot be in the business of refining oil. It's a lie. Our refineries are working, but they are deliberately sabotaged so that they can give licenses to private individuals who will now buy over. Atiku was talking about selling it.
Yeah,
Sell it to who?
privatization.
These foreign nationals that are his friends and some locals that are their friends. So they can take over state capture. For me, state capture. That's what they want to do. And when they take over these industries, then they will now begin to increase prices the way they desire.
They lie.
The way they like. Forget all this talk about market forces. There's no market forces anywhere. They are going to meet amongst themselves and they are going to determine prices.
Wow.
They are going to determine prices. They are not going to bring down the prices because, look, fuel subsidy is a scam. And I want to stand with Labour on this. If Labour has the guts to explain this to Nigeria. Labour says, take your fuel subsidy out if you want, but let us not see increase in price of fuel. We can take out this fuel subsidy. From what I've just explained now, the fuel subsidy can be removed. It just simply means that those people who are posing as oil marketers, pretending to be importing crude fuel into Nigeria, will just be told to pack their bags and go. And then those who are refining within Nigeria can refine, and then we can continue with our direct sales, direct purchase, or the oil swap deal that we have